Duke team. We are ready to go, and Naomi Cabello serves it up on the first point and overpass. And that's just what Sophie Groom was envisioning maybe starting this match. You love to start with an easy point.
100%. The serving target is going to be one of the key focus. Who are they picking on? Because both teams have deep scouting reports coming into today.
It's an NC State team that is not at the top of the ACC in terms of aces, but you talk to any coach and they'll tell you they're one of the best serving teams in this conference. They put so much pressure on you, and that serving pressure already on display as Duke out of system. There's head coach Lucas LeBay in his 5th year. He was as animated as you will see him on Friday night, and why not, right? A rivalry matchup in front of a program record. And this game is growing here in the state of North Carolina and in the Triangle. And Amanda Rice, we highlight her in the opening for good reason.
Yeah, when you get your best player 2 great swings, hitting just outside the block, back in the court, that's a good start, obviously, for the Wolfpack. But for Duke, we got to make an adjustment defensively already on one of their key players.
Cabello serving to the libero, Mylan Godshaw. It's the NC State libero, Sky Stokes.
And already we see that blocking switch with Keefe coming all the way over and playing left front. So it only took a couple of swings when you think, oh man, here's Rice about to get hot again, and quickly Duke had made that switch. And that's something that tells us they've already kind of scouted that in or worked that in to make that switch that quickly. That's something that they plan to do.
Well, you see head coach Jolene Nagel, one of the best to ever do it, the winningest coach at Duke, and one of just 8 in the country, over 700 career wins. So making adjustments, something she can do very well. And this is something where this Duke team, if they can pick up their block, as you see, they're serving tough the last couple points, it'll make all the difference. They're currently last in the ACC in blocks. They get Keefe on the right side, and she uses the NC State block to draw the Blue Devils level.
And if you're looking for a match that you want to see 2 great right-side attackers go toe-to-toe, this is it. I mean, you tuned into the right place. And it's going to come down to which one's more effective in spots where the other team knows they're going to get the ball. That could tip the scale. Out of system, there's Rice again. And, you know, that's the one time where they switched their block back. Duke put Keefe back on the right side. And, you know, Duke is not known so far this year for their blocking. Coach Nagel admits that's an area where they're not as strong as some of the other opponents in the ACC. So, you know, they might have to manufacture a few positive touches by moving some blockers around and changing their matchups.
Yeah, Rice against Keefe. If you are a young left-handed volleyball player, you got to pay very close attention to what they do, because they are 2 of the best in the ACC.
There's no doubt. If you are a young left-handed player, attacker, these are 2 you can definitely pay attention to, take some great notes. They both do it very well.
Brianna Goss back to serve for the Blue Devils. NC State going to the middle. Now, Groom got the first point on the overpass, but this is an area, as well as they played on Friday night against Carolina, they weren't able to involve the middles as much as they would have liked. Something to pay attention to in track today against Duke. If they can have that connection as they show on that point, that would be huge for them.
No question. And here's Duke right back to
Speaking
answer
up,
with Cadle in the middle. And both of these teams have really good outside attackers.
Okay.
So if either team can start establishing the middle a little bit more, which means you have to be able to pass well, right? That's the first check box that you have to have if you want to run the middle. You got to get the ball up into that zone where you can run that offense. So that could be the area of the game that tips the scale as well. Which team can get their middle going?
When you get the middle going, what does that do for the opposing side of the net? Now you're worried about the middle and those great pin hitters.
Yeah, it causes a strain on your focus. You can't be everywhere at once. And so, especially if you're the middle blocker for a team, wow, great up, almost out of the net there. If you're a middle blocker and you're facing a team that has good passing, good middle attacking threat, it causes you to pause. You have to kind of track and maybe front and a route run by that opposing middle, and that causes you to be a half-second late to the outside, which creates seams on good tempo sets.
That last kill goes to Rachel Richardson, as you see, the senior from Maryland. She'll go back behind the service line. Nearly an ace. Chance for the Blue Devils. Grace Penn in the front row, and the grad student with a big smile after that kill.
Right place at the right time, Andrew. Sometimes the ball bounces your way, and that was a perfect bump set, if you will, out of coverage. Right to her from Williams.
4 years at BC, 3 years as starter for Penn, and one of 3 grad transfers for Coach Nagel and the Blue Devils. There's Jada Allen, NC State knocks it at 7. So both Groom and Allen we have seen in the middle for NC State now.
Yeah, both teams are showing that they have offensive prowess. They have multiple weapons that can score in the right opportunities. So it's probably going to come down to more of a serve and pass game. We've seen both teams have effective serving so far.
Ava Brizard wins that joust as Christina Barrow passed it over the net. Brizard got a lot of swings as Carolina tried to limit Amanda Rice in the late going, and she stepped up big with the 15 kills.
We've seen Brizard play at a high level, and I just love her tenacity. She's so aggressive when she swings. She's very assertive, and your team can feed off of that, just like that last swing. Going high, cross-body line. She disguises her shots well, but I just love the swagger she presents.
Brizard second on the team in kills on the year, behind only Amanda Rice. Another tough serve from Bryant. Brizard goes over in 2. Cadel off the slide, met by a dig by the setter Kate Peterson.
Wow.
Out. Point Duke.
Oh, my. No doubt that Jada Allen wants that back. A little smile. My fault, guys. But, you know, you want to put a point like that away emphatically, and sometimes your margin for error gets a little small when you're trying to make that awesome play. But credit Duke. They're definitely in the fight here, coming off a great win Friday night.
Yeah, that was a big win for them. They needed some momentum. The net shaking, and Duke was in it. That's Brianna Goss, the star freshman. They needed that, right? Being swept by Carolina twice in a row, needed some momentum, and to get a road win. Now looking for 2 in the same weekend. This would be a huge one if they could pull it off against an NC State team that's trending in the right direction after they had a tough weekend, lost at Stanford and Cal on a tough road trip. The tip is there for Goss.
Another factor when you look at third weekend of conference play, I think teams across the board in every conference, particularly in the power conferences, they're playing very smart. They have a lot of film, a lot of study, and they can pick out zones on the court that they think can score, be real problems for their opponent, and we're already seeing smart attacking so far today.
First swing for Madison Williams, a good one, but Duke meeting it. The libero Mylan Godshaw with the dig, and it turns into a Duke point. They tie it at 10.
And Duke's running a system right now, Andrew, where they don't have a back row attacking option when Keefe is front row. So you take the outside hitters of Richardson and Williams, they're subbed out usually, and so you've got, you know, DS is playing back row for them. So if you're in a broken play, you're grossly out of system, you don't really have an outlet outside of the front row. So that puts a little extra pressure on the outside hitters, the pin hitters for Duke to execute in those moments where, conversely, you know, for the Wolfpack, you've got some outside hitters playing all the way around, particularly Bryant. You know, she's an option back there when they're out of system. That's an extra wrinkle that Duke doesn't present right now with this lineup.
Not really in system there, and a tough swing gets down for Williams.
Yeah, going aggressive line right there off that outside pinky of Williams. You know, you got Williams versus Williams here, and is the block going to beat the attack? I think if you take a little step out there, if you're Taylor Williams, you might have a better position as a left front blocker.
Keith with the tip. There's Sky Stokes to dig it out. Williams picks it up off the block. Now she'll rise up. No touch. And the Blue Devils back in front.
And I love the formula that's taking shape for Duke to not only stay in this match, but get a lead here. They're just digging that extra ball. They're extending rallies. You know, they're not beating themselves with bad unforced errors, and they're forcing NC State to play longer rallies than maybe they're used to.
Amanda Rice. And there's a lot to be said about just making the opponent hit one more ball. And when you can extend those rallies, you can make life tough and frustrating.
Yeah, that's what you hear coaches say all the time. Let's outwork the other team. Well, what does that actually look like? And in our sport, in volleyball, it means playing tenacious defense. Kind of lost it there for a second. If you can play tenacious defense and make the opponent play that extra rally, you know, fatigue might to set in, some impatience. I want to end the point, so I want to go for an aggressive kill that might be small margin for error, and I force an error.
Great talking about middles having pause at times when there's too many options, right? But if Keefe is getting set a lot, as she, you know, rightfully so does, Broom now on both sides of the net shows you she's everywhere she needs to be on back-to-back points.
Correct. You know, when you talk about who's going to drive the ship, who's going to be that point scorer, that consistent performer for you, then the next part of that conversation is how can we put them in the best positions possible? And those are those coaching points that you work on during the week. Coming into, you know, a match against a known opponent, let's put them in those positions where they can score.
A 4-0 scoring run for NC State leads us to our media timeout.
Duke's new century cries out for a university where the drive to discover is not hemmed by disciplinary logics, where philosophers work side by side with physicians and physicists, where nurses find inspiration in narrative theory, where mechanical engineers team up with marine biologists or musicians. I believe Duke will continue to be that university, together.
This is the ACC. This is the ACC, where greatness isn't just a goal, it's our relentless pursuit.
Well, there you go.
Where elite coaches and preeminent players constantly strive to redefine what's possible. Here, greatness knows no limits. Here, achievements speak louder than words, and legacies are cemented. This is the ACC, accomplished greatness.
Hey, Flo. Cool leg warmers.
Thanks. They're just for the bus ride to work. They're not part of the official uniform.
No tunes today? Hey, Flo. Cool leg warmers.
Thanks. They're just for the bus ride to work. They're not part of the official uniform.
No tunes today?
No. My apartment was robbed last night. Took my cable-ready TV, VCR, portable cassette player.
Yep, all the latest tech.
If only Progressive had renter's insurance, like their home insurance.
Then we could bundle our cars and get the same 24/7 protection. I think we just invented that. This is the best day ever.
Well, I still got robbed.
It's still a pretty good day.
Pretty even start here in set number one between NC State and Duke. But the Wolfpack on a 4-0 scoring run. Bringing us to the media break. First to 15 are the Pack. Andrew Sanders with Corey Carlin. Coach, just your general thoughts on what we've seen so far.
I think both teams came out stressing their strengths. We saw Keefe, Rice get hot early. We've seen Duke make a couple of good defensive plays and hold their own in serve receive, but in the last 3 points, as NC State has started to pull away a little bit, it's been the serve receive breaking down for Duke. And we mentioned that they don't have that backcourt outside attacker outlet when they're out of system, So the front court has to perform in those situations, particularly when Keith is in the front row. And if their passing breaks down, I think more predictable on offense.
I mean, we're seeing Groom here. A block on the right side, a block on the left side. Now soloed up with Goss.
Yeah,
just a block party the last 5 points.
Just a great read by Groom. Almost got another one right there. Credit Richardson for sneaking that through. And as a blocker, when you're facing an attacker like Richardson that has a very fast shoulder load, her arm is through the ball very quickly, you have to press over right away. If you go high and then press over, that ball can sneak through between you and the net. So just a little blocking technique. Gosh, what a rocket. That probably showed up on the airport radar at RDU. You think about how effective Amanda Rice can be, and I'm not sure I want to give her that much line. She has proven that she can hit slivers of line, but I think you and I probably could have hit that line shot with that much room.
You could, Coach, you could. Amanda Rice, who set a career high in Cameron against Duke last year. She had 27 kills in a 5-set loss, a heartbreaker for the Wolfpack. Another block, Jada Allen. She was pressed up over the tape.
And what you're seeing is what we just echoed a few moments ago. The serve receive for Duke is breaking down a little bit. You have to credit the service pressure of NC State for doing that, but that's making the offense of Duke very predictable, and there's poor communication there on that one. That's making the blocking for the Wolfpack so much easier.
Sure. Because
you can read and anticipate. So Duke really needs to start tracking serving trends, communicating very well, tracking the ball all the way to their platform, and get a good pass.
Back-to-back aces from Rice. She served deep. She serves off the tape.
Wow.
And the run continues for the Wolfpack, 9-2, leading to a Duke timeout.
And if you're Duke, it's so deflating because up until 7-8 points ago,
right.
You were right in the thick of it. You even had a lead, I believe, at 15-12, somewhere in that neighborhood. So, what's really happened as NC State has started to pull away. It's the service pressure. It's not being very good attacking out of system. I think there's a couple of low balls that Williams hit low to the tape into the teeth of the block. So we can be a little smarter in those situations, maybe attack the back row setter, get an out of system in response. But it's really about cleaning up our serve receive and trying to get on a mini run here to get back in this set. It's kind of quickly getting away from Duke.
So we'll see what adjustments can be made. Again, both teams coming off a rivalry 4-set win. NC State's lost a couple in a row against the Blue Devils, and that one last year in late October, that was the key one. Again, a 5-set heartbreaker. Both these teams finished neck and neck. NC State finished 5th last year, Duke 6th. To look at any one loss, right? It's not one loss. You get in or out based on your entire resume, but that was one that they really felt like they needed. And if they win that match, who knows? Maybe they do get in. So you see great history in this series. 106th meeting today, but the Wolfpack looking for a little revenge. And this is a big match for them, not just what you were talking about at the start, where it's a key juncture in the season. We're starting to really get an ACC play. But also just from a year-to-year thing, Coach, that's sometimes a measuring stick for your program. All right, last year came up a hair short. Can you flip the script and turn, some of those losses from a year ago into a win? And so they want revenge, and Amanda Rice continues. Timeout, no change, another ace.
Yeah, they're doing right now what I thought they would do at a timeout, which is change their serve receive pattern. If you're getting aced 2, 3, 4 times in a row, you really need to change your pattern and make the server have different targets. Boy, how unfortunate there for Richardson. She changed up her shot. She tried to go high outside hand. And when you jump as well as she does, you're in the air a little bit longer, and it's really tough to kind of get out of the way of a ball that might be on the way out of bounds as a tool.
And Gazi Elo is brought in by Coach Nagel. They go to Cato on the slide, but I mean, it's ace or block right now. NC State's not having to play in transition.
And that right there was an easy read for Jada Allen in the block of NC State to make, because Elo just came in. She's cold. She's probably not going to get the first set. So let's key on the middle. Let's key on someone who's warm and been in the match, who's probably more likely going to get that rep.
That'll get Duke a side out. Penn says, you know what? I'll do it myself.
As good setters will. If the offense is just not performing for a good stretch, then, you know, your front row, you've got the green light. Let's be aggressive with that second ball, see if we can catch the defense napping and maybe turn the tide here.
Finally found something the NC State block wasn't ready for.
Sure. Still a lot of pressure on Duke, though, because Keefe is in the back row. You don't have one of your strongest hitters in the front. You're in a two-hitter rotation. You need to stay in system in transition.
That ball was down. Play continues.
Yeah.
Another diving play by Barrow. Again, if Duke wins this point, certain NC State will challenge. Was there a touch? There was not, and so there won't need to be a challenge.
Yeah,
it'll be set point.
To that point, Andrew, that first swing from Williams on the left side going cross court, you know, did Barrow get that ball up? The second official was signaling down, that he saw it down, but the up official overruled him in that moment.
A stunning close to set number one. Oh, does that not require good passing? Like, if you're out of system, that check number one is going to be to pass well, right?
Normally,
yes.
And I mean, it's a yes with an asterisk, because you don't have to pass perfect to run a quicker tempo to the pin. If you're within 5 to 8 feet of the net inside the 10-foot line, maybe you can't run the middle as much from that zone, but you can run a quicker tempo set if the setter is in good body control.
But if the pass is like that, you do what you want.
Right. That's what you go for. That's what you strive. You want that 3 pass, that perfect pass. You've got all the options available.
But that's good to know, though. So as long as you're in the vicinity, you can still change that tempo. So we'll see, what adjustments Duke makes.
Yeah, if they pass like that, they're going to be in good shape.
Because as a coach, you have to do a lot more than just say, look, pass better, right? I mean, you need them to pass better, but there's all kinds of things you can do to try and get that result.
Yeah, and our game can be so mental, Andrew. Anyone who's played this game, particularly high level, understands that, you know, you can get in your own head very quickly. And so some things that you can do to stay calm but assertive in these situations, try to slow the game down, is track the ball all the way to your platform. Watch the ball in, don't watch it leave. Take your feet, communicate on those seam balls, you know, and give yourself a little bit more leash of what a good pass is. It doesn't have to be perfect. If the setter's 5, even 10 feet off the net, but in good control, it's a higher ball, we can still run offense from there. We can still have more than one option available. But if she's on the dead sprint run or you get aced, there's nothing we can do, right? So there's different levels.
Duke trying to get back to what they did in the first 20 or so points of the first set, because the second half of the set belonged to the Wolfpack, and the tough serving continues. Not a whole lot you can do about that when you're getting aced off the tape.
Well, and I want to go back to the Amanda Rice serving run. She had, I think her third ace was a net clipper.
Yeah.
And that kind of broke the back a little bit of Duke in that moment. It's just bad timing for the receiving team. And, you know, if you're the serving team, it's kind of what you practice for and you hope for happens in the match.
NC State has put up 12 aces in a couple of matches this year. They did it down in South Florida when they played at USF and against North Florida as well. And the Aces starting to rack up here in the early going.
Wow.
Oh, another one.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, you could be good, you could be lucky. Sky Stokes is both right now. I mean, she's been an incredible server throughout her collegiate career.
Boy, oh boy, it's so difficult for the receiving team because there's almost player in that vicinity in case it dribbles over the net. They might be able to make a play, but you know, the likelihood of net clipper serves happening in bunches is very low. So the fact that Sky's already done 3 in about 4 serves is a testament to how hard she trains and the serving that she's, you know, the talent she has as a server.
Oh my goodness. Another Sky Stokes ace. And wow, she's like a baseball pitcher right now, just hitting the outside corner. I mean, it's the same spot, wearing it out.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive stuff there by number 9.
Timeout, Duke will step aside. NC State up 6 early in the second.
Get ready for hosting at the Home Depot with free delivery on over 2 million items every day. So you can refresh your space before Santa or the family comes to town. Get holiday ready with savings.
No flex, zone.
Is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up.
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
NC State tough serving. Amanda Rice and Sky Stokes serving up the aces. They've got 8 as a team already, Coach.
It's pretty impressive stuff because no matter what level of volleyball you're competing at, if you can win the serve and pass game, you're probably going to win the match. That's been proven statistically over and over. And, you know, particularly at high-level matches, that's one that tips the scale. But, man, this scale is way tipped in the favor of NC State. And if you're Duke, you need to make some adjustments. If those balls are hitting in the middle of the court, maybe your serve receive passers take a step up. If they're, you know, if you're getting beat deep, you take a step back. I mean, it's kind of that yo-yo effect that serve receive pattern will kind of mimic the type of serves that they're used to seeing in that rotation. But, man, it's impressive stuff so far, NC State from the service line.
Sky Stokes, maybe just a little relief from the Duke side that finally a Stokes serve hits the net and doesn't tip over. It goes down for the service error. But what a serving run it was for her to give NC State momentum in the second stanza, and they get back to it with an Amanda Rice swing. But, yeah, Stokes already 4. You draw a Venn diagram, right? Poker and Sky Stokes serving, and in the middle is 4 aces. Pretty good.
Yeah, she was definitely
call that 4 of a kind
in that last run. And when she gets back around, you better assume that Duke is going to have some kind of different look in their serve receive pattern versus that Sky Stokes serve. Cadle just wide there.
Jada Allen in the net. And so the point is going to go to the Blue Devils. Yeah, you can see, yeah, that ball was out, but 16, Allen, yep. Good look down the net there.
And these are the type of plays you need to celebrate if you're Duke, and you know, take that little mental break about kind of how we got in this hole, but now let's start to work out of it by stringing together a couple of positive plays together. We just had a net call go our way off a good swing that just missed from Cadle. Can we have some aggressive serving and back it up with good defense? I'll be very curious to see here, you know, where does Quinn target on her serve, going short zone.
The first time we've seen Nikki Quinn this afternoon, and NC State immediately sides out.
It's such a good changeup from NC State. You know, when you're going with Bryant over on the right side, the blockers are used to seeing Rice over there, and she is very heavy line seam attacker so far in the match. And then here you have Bryant going cross court. You know, so if you're a blocker, you got to be heads up about your current matchup and what that tendency is.
Quinn in there to set for the Blue Devils.
Yeah,
talking about changing pattern. You can also just change personnel sometimes too, right? And switch it up.
Yeah, you know, if the team isn't performing to snuff, particularly offensively, then let's change the quarterback. That's a common play in volleyball. And right now, Duke hitting under 100% as a team, so why not put a new setter in?
Quinn playing for the first time since October 4th against Carolina.
The way you're going to get back in this match, if you're Duke, is you have to defend and serve receive. Not to be perfect again, but we need to have at least more than one option. And you need to be effective in attacking out of system. Now, that doesn't mean you have to score, right?
Okay.
That's difficult to do.
Effective,
but
don't have to score.
Correct. Effective and out of system means that you're taking aggressive swings to put the other team at a disadvantage.
Okay.
Now, if you can't get a full swing at the ball, maybe you make the backcourt setter play it, right? But there's some smart zones you can hit or ways you can attack out of system that aren't going to put your team at a disadvantage or have a bad unforced error.
Makes sense. If you think of the point, kind of like a tug of war. You're saying you don't have to win it right there. You're just trying to get that rope, if you will, in tug of war, just a little bit more in your favor, because when you're out of system right now, it's slanted a little towards the opponent. You're trying to put them on the back foot a little bit, just a little disadvantage. You don't have to win it right there.
That's a great analogy. It's very much like a
Thanks,
tug
Coach.
of war in that moment, 100%. It's, you know, what some particularly younger attackers will do is they'll get impatient in those out-of-system opportunities. You know, if you're 8-10 feet off the net, unless you're a stellar level of talent, right, very few players are at that echelon. So if you're kind of a normal, talented player, you got to think, I want to have an assertive, smart swing, but live another day. This is not an area of the court where I want to try to score outright, because that usually leads to an unforced error.
Quinn is back row for Duke. And on the tough pass, back row blocking against Sophie Grew.
And you're seeing a couple of things start to unfold here for Duke. The passing has broken down a bit. Credit NC State with their service pressure again. But we've also seen just some ineffective shot selections from out of system. That one's better. You know, Williams doing a matrix move to try to stay from going under the net before the ball was down. But switch up your shot, you know, make the defense play and hope you get something easier in your transition game.
See if Taylor Williams can give Duke a spark. She was a huge part of the win on Friday. Career high 16 kills in her first career double-double. She also chipped in 11 digs, and that was part of it for Duke. Well, late signal. I wasn't sure. It looked like that ball might have been in the corner. They do call it out after some hesitation. Make sure everybody's on the same page. The R1 today is Brian Jones. The R2 is Michael Holder. But yeah, Duke had 4 players earn a double-double on Friday, which I thought was impressive regardless of how many sets you play. But if I told you there's 4 players with a double-double, you think, okay, you probably played 5. They only played 4 sets.
Right.
Now, to be fair, Coach, I don't know how many times you've seen this. The one set they did lose against Wake, 33-31. So while it's not an entire other set, like they did play some bonus points. You don't see scores in the 30s usually.
No, when you're going that deep into overtime in our sport, it's going to inflate the stats quite a bit. That's, to go back to your analogy,
battle.
that's a huge tug of war
Yeah.
right there.
Got Penn back in there, and she's able to set it.
Yeah, Duke going to the 6-2. trying to manufacture a little more offense, and NC State is questioning if the ball was simultaneously contacted with a back row setter and the blocker. If the ball broke the plane, then that would be an illegal back row block or back row attack on Duke. And I believe that's what the challenge is here, because in live play, Andrew, that was my question. On the one hand, Penn made a great save of a set, but her hand, she went up
Original
one-handed.
call, no touch.
The ball
We're challenging
was
touch.
in the zone. It looked like it was in the zone, and the blocker for NC State went up at the same time and might have made contact. So,
well, you just heard the R2 Michael Holder say NC State's challenging a touch.
interesting.
Originally ruled no touch.
Interesting.
So what you'll see here in a moment is exactly what Mr. Holder will be looking at.
Yeah, it seems like there was multiple sections of that play that you might review. Right there, that ball breaks the plane right there. I mean,
So he said no touch, but he's got to be talking about the touch from Penn, yes?
I was going to say,
yeah.
It's pretty clear that right there, that action in the play is what's being reviewed, because everything else is clear.
Is that ball in the plane of the net here, Coach?
Correct, right. So
right there.
If that ball from that angle looks like it might just be breaking the plane, and if it is,
The call will be reversed.
then that would be an illegal back row attack.
That was
by
close,
Penn.
but
Yeah.
I think just that the very outside of the ball got to the plane.
Yeah.
So a good challenge for Coach Slabay, and the point goes to NC State. And Penn's job there, and it's tough, right? It's tough when it's that tight, but her job there is to try and intercept that ball.
Correct.
Cut it off before it gets to the plane. Almost pulled it off. Another swing for Rice, and this time the Duke block stands up.
I thought it was the first time that I can remember that she was a little underset. You know, Amanda Rice is at her best when she has a good location set in tempo, where she has all options as an attacker. When you underset a lefty right side, she pretty much can only go seam or cross. And the block made a good read there and shut her down for one of the few times in the match. And watch out now. Duke get a little sliver of momentum here, and they're only down by 5.
A block, an ace. Doing what has made NC State so successful to this point. Cabello has to go behind the attack line for the set. Joust is won by Goss.
That's just a deflating play from a coaching perspective. You're working so hard. When Rice gets a good swing, you get a positive deflection. Goss goes back and challenges the joust. You make a diving effort. Just a little hesitation in communication on that second contact costs you the point. And if Duke's going to come back and challenge this match, they're going to have to be better in those situations.
Duke needing a side out. Stokes behind the service line. She went on a run last time she was back there. She'll set it up for Rice here.
Wow, yeah, just a very tight set, out of system in transition. Again, Duke is working hard. They're being scrappy. It just is those quality of contacts as those long rallies continue that are starting to break down a little bit.
Good pass from Richardson. Duke in system and clicking, and they get the side out.
And they desperately needed that. I mean, you're down 7. You don't want to be in a situation where Sky Stokes goes on another serving run with the score where it is. So quick side out, see if they can string together another point here. Good serve, better pass. Keefe a little disappointed she couldn't pull off the matrix bumps, punch up with the ball, but good dive in there by Cadle on Allen when you're splitting the block there on that 31. Very difficult to block. Wow.
Getting some home bounces off the tape.
Wow. When that serve left Amanda Rice's hand, I was thinking we're going to see our 9th ace of the night, and just credit the serve receive for Duke for stepping in and delivering a perfect pass. Talk about raising your level when the moment calls for it. Duke has been pretty solid. It gets back-to-back service pressure from the best servers for NC State.
Peterson goes to Allen. So whether it's Cabello or Peterson, in sync with the middle.
And in that situation, if you're a middle blocker, you want to lag just a little bit, because even though the setter is running forward, Allen is still a factor. She can run that back one, and so you don't want to fully commit to going to the outside if you're a middle blocker in that situation.
That was center cut right down Hillsborough Street.
Tight set.
And a swing for Brizard.
Tight set again. Wow. Yeah, it's one of the factors that has contributed to the lead for NC State is just some out-of-system setting errors from Duke. I think there's been at least 4 in this set where they've set the ball too tight, where the attacker can't get a quality swing, and you're going into the strength of NC State, which is their block right now, if you do that. Great coverage there by Underwood. A better set and a better result, and that just shows you right there, Andrew, that if Duke can get quality swings out of their attackers, they make it a much closer match. So that's going to be a focus for the Blue Devils moving forward.
And Gazi Elo has only played in 1 set in the last 4 ACC matches, but she's played in both sets here, and she picks up that kill.
Better read by Cadle there on the back one from Allen.
Back row. For NC State, and they go to her here.
Yeah, and I love that play call because we haven't seen it yet in the match, and that was a perfect time to run it, try to extend your lead. With no blocks, she usually scores in that situation. I'd be very surprised if they don't run that play again.
At least gives Duke something to think about on the other side of the net, even though they don't get the point there. Yeah. Duke has cut it to 6.
Not ready in transition. Wow. When you're playing volleyball at the ACC level, at a very high level, it comes down to the plays within the plays, right? And what do I mean by that is when you're out of system, who's getting better swings? When the other team is out of system, how well are you defending that? And if you're a little late in transition, if you're not getting a good contact on the ball, if the set's a little too tight, those things are going to come back to bite you.
Brizard varying her shots. Duke out of the back row. Richardson springs up, but NC State ready for it.
Yeah, trying to give you a little taste of your own medicine there. And in the middle of that rally, I love what Peterson did where, well, you just see Brizard diving in smartly, taking away that seam. Great read on that triple block. But I love what the tempo that Peterson is running in transition to the left sides, particularly that last set to Brizard, because it's so difficult to defend as a blocker when you have that quick tempo in transition to the left sides.
Timeout Duke, their second and final of set number 2 at 23-15. And so a lot for them to talk over. NC State having a lot of fun on the other side, celebrating how well they're playing. Clara Vondren just broke out the worm. I haven't seen that in a while. But hey, Coach, you love to have that activity on your bench, right? In celebration for the players who are in the match and the players that have not gotten in yet. Yeah, just keeping that energy high on your side.
Yeah, you definitely want your team together, whatever that looks like. Some teams, you know, they kind of have like a pseudo captain on the bench, if you will, that does cheers, and they kind of stay connected with the players on the court in that way. A lot of programs will have the people on the bench focused on certain areas of the game as play goes on, so that when there's a timeout or a break in the action, you know, if you're my position, I can come up to you and say, hey, Andrew, you know, when you get set next, here's an area of the court that they're leaving open for you on this set. Or, hey, you know, the last 4 times that Rice has gone back to serve, she's targeted this seam for you guys, so be mindful of that. That communication keeps everybody together, and you just love when they're cheering for each other and they're keeping things light. And you work so hard throughout the week in preparation and practice that when you're in game flow and things are clicking, it's a sweet spot. You love everybody to celebrate those moments.
NC State took the first set 25-15. Here late in set 2. Jada Allen to serve, looking to close things out.
Got a great connection there.
Good coverage by Williams. NC State's got the middle setting a couple of times here during this rally. Now Peterson will get a second touch to it, and there's the middle groove.
Wow. Boy, the body control for Peterson is so impressive. Going to a knee, seeing the middle groom in your peripheral, seeing that she's an outlet. Boy, if you can get that connection, it just opens up so many windows to score.
Injured a year ago, now a big part of this NC State offense is Peterson. And NC State, same score.
They're going to go at her right away and test her and see what she can bring.
And not the start that Duke was hoping for. Quinn setting now.
Good thought, just not great execution. You want to get Brianna Goss involved. You know, she was player of the week in the ACC a couple weeks ago, so she definitely has the high level to her game.
Yeah, named for the second time, and that was after, again, successful weekend against Syracuse and BC. That was shaking.
Yeah, just
Elo guilty of being in the net.
a danger when you're in this spot in the match is to maybe try a little too hard. You know, you want to get that emphatic block. You want to make that impressive kill to try to spark your team in a comeback. And when you do that, sometimes a little too aggressive and in the net.
First touch for Hamlin is a pretty good set.
Boy, how impressive is Amanda Rice. I would call that her off-speed shot, and she still scores with it, but peppering the court, she was heavy line and seam in the first set and a half, and now she's starting to mix it up, going deep cross. She has so many tools in her bag.
Everything coming up Wolfpack here.
And we have to credit Groom again. I mean, the recognition that this is a tight set attempt. You probably only have two options, the middle and front or the outside to keep, and so quick toe-tuck jump to get in front of Goss there. Boy, they're just all out of sorts right now, trying to get those combination plays, and it's resulting in an easy transition kill for the Wolfpack.
And I don't know how much of this might be, right? But when you do shake up the lineup and you bring in some players to give them an opportunity they maybe haven't played in the last handful of matches, it's easy to understand why you might not be quite on the same page. And Duke out of sorts. They call timeout. That'll become our media.
Is it going to have to go up?
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
No flex, zone. No flex, zone.
Thing we know is true, no matter race, gender, ethnicity.
The need to screen when due.
For colon cancer's a priority.
Indeed. Everyone 45 plus at average risk should screen for colon cancer. These folks are getting it done at home with me, Cologuard.
Cologuard is a one-of-a-kind way to screen for colon cancer that's effective and non-invasive. It's for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk. False positive and negative results may occur. Ask your provider for Cologuard.
I did it my way.
It is the annual pink match here at Reynolds Coliseum for NC State Volleyball. In their game notes, put together by their great SID, Annie Hirschfeld, it says a match that hits close to home. And in the pink match for breast cancer awareness, not one but two players on NC State's team, Reese Bounty, her mom Mandy, and Naomi Cabello, her mom Myra, both moms survivors of breast cancer, and they're both in attendance here today.
What an awesome celebration, and hitting close to home is kind of an understatement. Talk about Kay Yao, what she went through all those years ago here at NC State. You know, the Kay Yao Foundation, breast cancer awareness, wearing pink, and to have mothers and other women associated with the program directly that have gone through that fight and come out the other end is so impressive. And the courage that they show is, I don't think it can be overstated. It's just a powerful thing when we can rally around family members and, you know, people that support the program, and you're supporting them back.
Here inside Reynolds Coliseum, where NC State's women's basketball program also plays. They share it with the volleyball program. It's Kay Yao Court and the legendary head coach and her impact. Not as many people know. Everybody knows about Kay Yao. Not everybody knows that she's actually the first volleyball coach in NC State history. She coached both. Coached the volleyball program for a couple years, and so a special connection to this program, and it's really so special to see what started here at NC State and has grown into a nationwide thing, the Play for K game across women's basketball, but also to see so many different sports now embrace a pink match or a pink game depending on the sport. And so that has spread, and of course also at NC State here with Jimmy V and the V Foundation. Again, a special match, and it's not just the players wearing, you know, the black jerseys, the pink tinge, and with the pink sleeves as well, but so many here in attendance also donning the pink.
Hey, you see the community support is awesome. And the ties to NC State from both Kay Yao, Coach Galvano, it's truly amazing that you see the power sports can have, the platform that sports can have to, you know, situations that are bigger than sports. And, you know, it just draws attention to the need of support in certain areas and how we can be better when we have people in our lives that are facing some of these very difficult situations. And it's very cool, the connection NC State has.
And a connection, by the way, both of these programs talking about the Play for K game. February 3rd, it is NC State hosting Duke. And that's the Play for K game. That game, by the way, will be on ESPN2. You can watch it there.
Great stuff.
Well, after NC State got out to that 5-0 start, Duke has picked up its level coming out of that timeout. They've cut it to 2.
It's more a question of can they sustain it, because we've seen them do that so far in this match where NC State would get a little bit of a lead, a little bit momentum, and Duke can fight back, but they haven't been able to sustain it for a set. And I think that's going to be the challenge. Not just can you get it within striking distance, but can you maintain that into the 20s?
Sky Stokes with an all-out effort play here to keep this point alive and ends up cashing in for the pack.
Yeah, it goes back to that earlier point. If you just work hard on defense, you sell out the body, that ball's not going to hit the floor on my side, good things will happen.
Hamlin will get a couple of swings here on the left side. Off the underside of the video board, but NC State keeps rolling with it.
Great play by Godshaw.
This time it's Rice who punches it up. Again.
Wow, longest rally of the match, I believe, Andrew, and what a treat to see Hamlin. First few swings of the match, she gets a lot of volume in that rally, and she mixes up her shots. I don't think she hit the same shot twice.
No.
Which is a great look from a freshman in this spot to test all areas of the defense, and recognizing that Rice was in the back row. She normally doesn't stay in the backcourt as a defender, so let's test that defender in that moment. Heads up play by the freshman.
Elo puts it down, and Duke, I think they found a little spark here.
Well, and I was going to say in that long rally that finished with the Hamlin kill, if Duke loses that rally, I think it might be a backbreaker. The fact that they won that rally, now it's the flip side of that coin. It's a big boost for your team if you can string together 2 or 3 points following it. Might have jinxed it a little too soon there as Williams comes up with an absolute rocket to left back. And look at the angle of approach, the shoulder load. Great shot by Williams. Wow. Oh.
4 hits on Duke. Great effort.
The hustle for Duke is pretty impressive right now, and it's allowing them to stay in this set so far. But an aggressive serve by Bryant, even better pass by Barrow. Got Duke in system. You thought good things were going to happen. Elo has a good swing, a good back and forth. And this is the kind of match that I think Duke wanted from the onset that we just didn't really see. So maybe they're starting to settle in now and just play a little bit looser.
Yeah, they'll take one off the net clip, although NC State able to defend. Another kill for Penn.
And I love that play, particularly the timing of it. If you're Duke and you've got any momentum on your side right now, you want to keep that momentum.
Yeah.
You want to guard that with your life. And what can we do smartly to keep NC State off balance? Great dump there by Penn.
Penn is one of the most experienced players in the country. That ball was down. This is her 134th career match. 6th most among any player in Division I. And once again, on a ball that was questionably down, no need to challenge. NC State will take the point.
Yeah, Williams is just so difficult to read as a blocker. She faces seam, hits cross court. The best you can do is just be stopped at contact and try to make a play. But great swing again by Williams. I think there might be a challenge for a touch here.
Yeah, the call is out. Now we'll look to the Duke bench. Will they challenge?
Well, when Elo first came down, she was screaming touch, looking at the bench, but then she kind of calmed that reaction a bit, so maybe it wasn't quite as certain.
Hamlin gets a swing out of the back row and connects.
And we're seeing a different look from the Blue Devils than what we saw in the first 2 sets. So you have to applaud their coaching staff for making some changes, giving the freshmen an opportunity. You know, in set 1, they were running a 5-1 rotation with no real backcourt option attacking. And The last 2 sets, they've switched that up. Wow. Andrew, put yourself in the shoes of Brianna Goss, the middle blocker for Duke, when across the net you've got Williams on the right side, who's been effective. You've got Groom, who's been effective, and you got Brizard. All 3 of those attackers with, you know, great performances so far. Who do you guard? Where do you go?
Having to defend all 30 feet.
100%. I mean, you know, it just puts a lot of stress on your middle blocker when you've got 3 attackers that have all been proven so far in the match. A little bit of a low set.
Cabello sets up Brizard. Point still alive. With options. Again, her mom Myra in attendance. She coached her growing up. Huge volleyball family. She'll go to Rice, who ends the point. Terminates.
So many good things happening in that rally. Positive block touches, good defensive effort, great coverage. We saw both teams attacking smartly, trying to get the other team out of system. I love the shot selections in that rally, but when you've got the ultimate ender of points in Amanda Rice, there's really no answer. Tight set. Boy, Gottschall just trying to make a play. That ball might have been going out of bounds, but you're just fighting for everything you can get now defensively if you're Duke. But look at that tempo to the outside. It's so fast that Goss can't close. Giving Brizard basically a one-on-one opportunity. A lot of serves going to the freshman right now. Hamlin handling her own.
Nice dig by Gottschall.
Wow.
And NC State has found another gear now in all 3 sets where they've made a big run.
Yeah, and there's not much else you can do if you're Duke. You're playing well, you're extending rallies. It's just NC State is getting quality swing opportunities from multiple players at the moment. They've got 3 players in the front court now that all can score and hit different shots. It's just a very tough road to hoe if you're Duke. You better point score quick. You better score on a quick swing if you're the Blue Devils, because right now you're putting all that work in, and the longer the rally goes, it's favoring NC State.
Well, Wednesday's featured volleyball matchup has number 5 Stanford traveling to Dallas to face off against 15th ranked SMU in the Moody Coliseum. You can watch it on the ACC network and the ESPN app. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Moody Coliseum, not an easy place to play if you're an opponent. SMU has got a win over Nebraska this year, and now, more impressively, you know, Pitt hadn't dropped a set all year until they ran into Boston College, dropped 1. But SMU wins a 5-set thriller to hand Pitt a loss. They didn't know if Pitt was going to lose in the regular season, but then they went to Moody Coliseum.
Yeah, there's something special in the lights over there for SMU, and you have to really appreciate just the value, the competitive value of bringing those new teams to the worked out. But you know, when you've got a Stanford, a Cal, an SMU program join the ACC, particularly sport of volleyball, there's no easy matches. You have to be on point every night, and particularly when you travel. So SMU beating Pitt, that while that is surprising, when you look at the value of these programs historically, it's just something new that teams have to prepare for in a new opponent, and you're seeing the parity start to play out with those teams. It's pretty exciting stuff.
See, Carrie Keefe, the star for Duke, by the way, fun fact, she was high school teammates with Tori Stafford, who's the star for Pitt. You saw she had 17 kills in that 5-setter. And if you're thinking, wait, they had Stafford, they had Keith, that team must have been pretty good. Yeah, they were ranked #1 nationally at Marymount High School.
I don't think we can overstate the impact that Sophie Groom has had on this match, because how many times you see Cabello running to the 9-foot line. Look at how far she is off the net and still finding a good connection with Groom in the middle to point score. Just great quarterbacking by number 8.
Groom now into double figures with 10 kills, and that is a new career high for her in an NC State uniform. She had 9 at Stanford last weekend, so a new NC State high with 10 for Groom.
Well, and probably the best thing for Duke is that she rotates out, so
right.
You don't have quite the same.
Well, you got Lily Cropper now stepping in. So whether it's been Groom or Allen or now see Lily Cropper, another middle for NC State that they like a lot, it's working.
Yeah, right now everything is flowing the way of the Wolfpack. You know, you're seeing some positive things from Duke. I like what Hamlin's brought to the table since she's come on board. There's another good pass from the freshman. You know, it's just a little too late in terms of the score. I mean, the way that NC State is playing, it is a monumental task right now that Duke is looking uphill. So this might be an opportunity where you start to get a new look with some players, give them some playing time. As we see Millie Meir come in, a new setter. You know, this is a good opportunity for some of the players of Duke that don't normally get opportunities to come in and show us what you can do. Can you spark a little mini run and show us some positive things for future consideration?
NC State, another point to take a 10-point lead. Yeah, Meir coming in, her 10th appearance of the year. She's got 18 assists on the year, so we've seen Penn and Quinn and now Meir. Her dad, Bernard, by the way, she's from Stanford, California. Her dad, Bernard, is the athletic director at Stanford.
Yeah, there's kind of a funny story there of how she got to Duke. You know, so one of the coaches was in an airport and struck up a conversation with her dad and kind of remembered each other through, you know, the years. And when the recruiting process started, kind of recognized each other and like, oh, I think I remember. I think I remember you. So you never know when those recruiting connections are going to bear fruit or circle back around. That an impromptu conversation at an airport kind of helped lead to a recruiting opportunity.
Her sister Libby played at Stanford, but traveled to the East Coast to go to Duke. And there's an answer in the middle this time as Goss makes a nice play. Goss from Fishers, Indiana. Same hometown as NC State middle Jada Allen.
Yeah, played for the same club team. Very high level.
Well, you used to coach out in Muncie. I mean, Munciana is a dynasty.
Yeah. Coach Mike Lingenfelter does a great job over in the heartland of Indiana. Every player coming out of that program is well coached, high IQ.
It was 25-15 in the first couple of sets. Now, NC State again with a big advantage, looking to sweep Duke. There is Allen.
Got to defend the out of system here. A little bit low. I think Hamlin was expecting a higher set there.
Good dig by Nikki Underwood. Nothing she can do about this one. It'll be match point Wolfpack.
Yeah, and again, Amanda Rice, we hadn't called her name in a while, but when you want to put a match away, you want to go with your stalwart, and Amanda Rice has definitely been that for NC State this weekend. if you're Duke and you're going away from this match, you got to pull out some positives. You know, we did battle back in spots. We saw some things in serve receive that were, you know, a positive sign of what we can do in those situations when we're getting stressed from an opponent's serve. But I think offensively, we just need a little bit better.
A service error ends it, and NC State sweeps Duke in dominant fashion. 15, 15, and 13. And they have now won 6